Google's CEO grilled on Capitol Hill over possible bias against conservatives.
You believe that Google is biased. It's either yes or no.
No, not in our approach.
Do you plan on having a search product there?
Right now, there are no plans to launch a search product in China.
Can you use the locations that people go to identify, to back into who a person is? You wouldn't do it, but could someone else?
We wouldn't do that without explicit user consent.
Beverly Hallberg, president of the District Media Group and contributor at the Washington Examiner, was at the hearing, and she joins us now. Thank you for your time again. Sometimes it's really hard to get a simple yes or no, huh?
Yeah, he did not want to answer those point blank, yes or no, are you doing this? He seemed evasive at times. I think one thing that did seem to have the most concern from both Democrats and Republicans is in one of those clips you just had there, is whether or not they're going to be developing a search platform for China. He was very elusive about it, but I think this is one area where Google is realizing there are major issues for wanting to develop something that would be censored and could be used by the Chinese government. So I'm wondering if it took them to find themselves in this form to say maybe this isn't something that we should do, which I think that alone is concerning, that Google, it takes public opinion and Republicans and Democrats both pushing back for them to realize that there is a problem with developing a search platform that would give users information to the Chinese government.
So Beverly, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're a little bit satisfied with what you heard yesterday as it relates to China.
I was satisfied with that as far as where it is now. They said they're not currently producing anything, but he didn't give a flat-out no. I do think if there is continued pressure that's concerning, and hopefully we'll continue to make sure that they don't develop it. One thing we did find, though, is that the CEO of Google continues to say that there is no bias whatsoever. It's pretty partisan on where congressmen, congresswomen split up on that. I mean, all you have to look at is even Fox's own Katie Pavlich, who has a video on women and gun rights on PragerU, which is part of Prager University's online platform. That online platform uses YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google, and 10% of their videos already have restrictions on them. They've sued Google for this. There are clear examples that there is bias, and yet, for whatever reason, the CEO did not want to admit that they have it.
Do you think that you heard enough yesterday to perhaps satisfy the public concerns about data privacy? I know this was something that you really wanted to look forward to hearing about.
Not at all.
Okay.
We didn't get a lot of good answers on that. One area that was focused on most is the location. So when you use your phone on different apps, it asks where you are. If you think of Google Maps, how are they tracking you? The CEO did mention that what they need to do a better job at is making sure it's easy for users to turn off location devices. I know sometimes it can be tricky to figure out exactly where it is, but he did say that location is a tricky issue because many people do want to have a GPS connector to their apps. So I think that's something that's going to be ongoing, but I didn't find his answer satisfactory, other than the fact that this is a newer technology, and I think all platforms are trying to figure out the best way to keep people safe.
Beverly, where does it go from here?
I'm hoping that we have more discussions. One of the things that I think we can learn from this is while Google is a private company and they can discriminate if they choose to, I think it's important for people to know that they do censor who they want to have in their search engine and what articles they want to prioritize. And I'm hoping that the more that we see this, the more we'll have innovation in the industry, that newer organizations and newer companies will come out to replace Google. Now, don't get me wrong, they are a massive company. This would take a long time. But in addition to that, I think it's important and imperative for each one of us to just realize how our data is being used. Don't turn on location devices if you don't want to be tracked. Be careful which quizzes you take on different apps, because all that information can be collected. And let's not forget, there's also hacking issues as well. So I think it's important for each of us to take our own personal responsibility with what information we share.
And this is the first step of what could be many to come. Beverly, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.